Hey everyone, welcome to the Space Viking Chronicles for Kids, where we play Dungeons and Dragons for your entertainment. Not only that, but you also get to play a role in all of this, not only to help the kids at St Jude, but also to plot the future of the players at hand. We basically play in a persistent world where the world continues moving on no matter what people do with it. We start off in the town of Liptville. Everything in the world has pretty much been created, at least NPCs, names, personalities to some extent. I take a little bit of leeway with it once somebody names it. And some of the other bits have been named by the audience, which is cool. And then beyond that, we have our subs who are part of our cast. So we're going to go around and let everyone introduce themselves and talk a little bit about who they are as characters. We don't have any new people today. This is all people who have been on the show before, as we are furthering along the story that has just happened. I'll catch you guys up to date, so if this is your first time tuning in, I'll let you know what's happening in the world, so you're not like, I don't get where we're at. I'll paint the picture for you so you know. And then, yeah, you'll get to see where the journey takes us today. You never know as a DM. You plan stuff, but then chaos ensues, or wild magic in our case. First but not least, I don't know. I'm tired. It's been a long day of work. Let's start off with Standalone, who plays Baz.
Hey there, I play Baz. I'm getting a little bit of echo. I play Baz, a half-orc warrior with a fighter, rather. I always call them warriors. With an iron mask and kind of grumpy personality.
I don't think he's that grumpy.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Keyword yet.
And we have the wonderful Tech Priest Con playing Roxy.
Hello. I am playing Roxy, a tiefling cleric who signed a contract? Didn't read it, but it's for the betterment of her friend Uthal. It's for the betterment. Nothing horrible will happen.
Yeah, my favorite part about this is she just signed the contract. Didn't read it whatsoever. The next person after her was like, how do I read this?
It was a heat of the moment thing. She didn't care.
Yeah. And I saw the look on your face. You're like, oh yeah, I should have probably read it. That moment where you're like, oh, whoops.
Reading's for nerds.
I'm pretty sure Roxy's a nerd, though. To some extent.
Fair.
When it comes to religion and stuff like that.
Religious nerd. Next
up, we have Nate2150, who plays Uthal, Ice Slayer. I'm not going to say your last name. How the hell do you say that? Maya-san.
It's not mayonnaise.
It's not mayonnaise.
It's not mayonnaise.
I can't believe it's not mayonnaise. It's like the new, I can't believe it's not butter.
I'm now making mayonnaise. It's a 7-foot Goliath.
I mean, if the relationship with you and Roxy goes well, maybe. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm sassy today. I told everybody. I was like, I'm sorry. I've gotten lack of sleep and just dealing. Also, thank you, Jesse Cox and The Completionist, for the auto host. Appreciate it. If you're watching over on their channels, come on over here. We are going to be playing some Dungeons and Dragons. It's going to be a lot of fun. You, as the audience, can also get involved, and it's a lot of fun. So, tell us a little bit about your character, who you are, all that stuff.
I'm playing Uthal Mayastan. He's a Goliath, a Shadow Sorcerer Goliath. He gets in a lot of trouble with wild magic, because right now he is not himself. He is also infected with lycanthropy to become a werebearer if he doesn't get a cure in, what is it, like 5 hours now? Something like that?
Yeah, it's cutting it close. It's probably about 5 hours now from how far they've gone, because they traveled one day there. They took a while inside, and then they traveled back a day. It's
Almost
probably
didn't go with
that morning of the final morning.
Okay. So yeah, right now he is currently actually a halfling, half elf,
Halfling.
Halfling.
You're a halfling.
halfling. Okay.
A halfling monk.
Because of yeah, I'm currently a halfling monk because I was polymorphed into an ally. Vand.
Into the
played
first
by-
person who touched you or
Yep.
made skin contact with you.
The first ally who made contact with me, which was Van Longstream, played by the Frank.
By
Played by
the
the Frank.
Frank. There's
The
no other
Frank.
Frank. This is the only one that exists in the world.
Yep. I've
Yep.
just eliminated all other Franks now.
It's like there can only be one Barney. That's why you've never ever heard of Frank, because there can only be one Frank.
Yep.
All right. And last but not least, one of our newer members into this crew, I think this is the second session that he's joined us on, is Kathanis playing Alexei.
Hello, yes.
I'm not even going to attempt to say your last name either, so.
It's just Vithrael.
Actually, that sounds easier.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
a lick-
Vithrael. It's
Yeah. I'm playing Alexei Vithrael, who is a half-elf bard who is very whimsical and very doofy. He is obsessed with learning about stories so he can become the best composer he can be.
Yes, he's our resident bard. But yeah, so that's where we are as far as who's gonna be playing today and where you can find them. Pretty much, this is our crew. Now, before we give you kind of the story of what happened last week, I'm gonna let you know how you can get involved with the game. As you can see we'll start over here. As you can see over here, we've raised over $7,000 for the kids at St. Jude, and we don't plan to stop. Our goal by the end of this year is to raise $25,000 as a community, and we're primarily focusing it around these streams because it's kind of our easiest way to get you guys to have a way to impact the game. A lot of other games don't have integration as easily. It makes it hard. So that's how much we've raised so far. If we reach 7.5K, which is our next major milestone, and you can kind of look at all of our milestones if you head to bit.ly/SVK4KIDS capitalized. If you look over here, this is how you can get involved in the game. Exclamation point St. Jude in chat, and it will tell you how to click the link and where to go. But $5 gives an inspiration to one of the wonderful players here, or you can even give it to me. Be sure to tell me who you're going to send that inspiration to, otherwise I will decide. $10 provides a natty 1 or a natty 20 to one of the players or me. You can decide who you would like to send it to. If you don't tell me who it's for, I will decide. Also make sure you clarify if it's a natty 1 or natty 20s, or I'll decide that too. $15 gets you some wild magic. I'm gonna let you know, it's wild. If you don't tell me who the player is or who it's for player-wise, I'll also decide that as well. And $20, you can provide a magic item in the game to one of the players or me. Feel free to give me suggestions, but sometimes I will take my own liberty with it because I need to kind of have it make sense with the story. But yeah, make sure you let me know who you'd like it to be for. And last but not least, $30 gets you a threat. A threat does not always mean a monster. Sometimes it can mean other things. But the players will have to wait to find out what those are. Mwahaha.
It's like the idea of the threat being like someone's like angry spouse coming and like threatening to bring him back from the adventure of life. You have 2 kids! What are you doing?
I wonder if there's one that's like, you have now children. I'm like, well, that's very forced on you. I don't know, like wild magic's so crazy. They can change your arm into a foot, so I don't know at this point.
Or a
forced responsibility.
Chin butt.
Oh yeah. Roxy had a chin butt for a while. Roxy was also a blob at one point. Roxy exploded when the moon was full.
She also thought she was 6 years old for a while.
And she thought she was 6-year-old for a long while. Meanwhile, we have Uthal, who is never going to be a Goliath. Has a giant-ass clock on it embedded in his forehead. And are your veins still on the outside?
Yes.
What?
They are.
Yeah, his veins and his circulatory system is on the outside.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh.
Yeah,
Ugh.
that's what I was saying. He looks kind of gross.
Like,
He wore that for a good portion of the other episode when he first got it, and I was like, you are crazy. And it like indented in your head.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, take it off.
Left a good dent.
I don't know who Reverse Flash is, but I'm assuming it's like a sloth. Or is there a comic series for it? If there is, I'll watch it. I'll read it.
I'll watch the comic.
I'll watch the comic.
Here in the book, then just throw it to the side. It was a good comic.
Animation is terrible.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
Rip headset users, I'm sorry. So to get things started, I will kind of recap what happened, well, where we are leaving off today. Last episode, we started our journey as Roxy and a few of her friends sat in the inn of Libtville, discussing how they're going to help their friend Uthal, who is currently going to turn into a werebear within 3-ish days. They met up with a new person who just joined the town, which is Alexei, who happens to be a bard looking for stories to tell and adventures of his own. Offers to join them on their quest, and so they try to figure out what they can do to help cure their friend. The most plausible reason or plausible solution is for them to, well, in their minds, to get a potion. Now, specifically, there's a druid who lives out in the forest somewhere. They know the general whereabouts of where this forest is and where the druid is said to have been wandering about. But the priestess was not able to give them the specific location, so it took them a bit to find. They did end up finding it. It ended up being like a little mausoleum, and for a moment there, they almost didn't actually go into it. But Alexei proved to be a useful resource in their journey as he heard something within the tomb and pushed it open easily and found a set of staircases, which they went down into, and it was basically like a catacomb of tunnels that they had to figure out what was going on with it. There was a trap. At one point, everyone was put to sleep through wild magic, except for Gaz. Gaz then went one route and found a trap, and then was like, well, clearly this is not the way to go about it. Figured the trap out easily and was able to make his way back. Started heading down the next hallway. During this process, the rest of our crew awakes, and they start shouting and looking for Gaz. And Gaz hears the shouting, thankfully, luckily, before he walked into the lit hallway and headed back. The group then all formed back up, no longer dealing with being put to sleep, groggily make their way down the hallway, finding themselves in a little bit of danger. But make it their way through by fighting off some gargoyles who were watching them while they were going down the hallway, and made their way into a tiny room that ended up belonging to a giant bear. Now, instead of fighting the bear, they decided to speak with the bear. For them, they also had a barbarian who is a bear totem barbarian, which is Gaz, who's not currently here today, because he decided to agree to a contract with this druid of sorts, as well as Roxy did. The two of them agreed that Roxy would get the potion. In exchange, Gaz would join this druid in learning all that he possibly could from her. The three of them left, and Gaz dropped into a giant hole in the middle of the room, into the darkness. The rest of them made their journey back with no issues whatsoever, and where we left off was them opening up the church doors and starting to walk in. Now, before we go to them, we're going to take a step back. During this entire journey, as Roxy met her new companion and looked for a cure for Uthal, what was Uthal doing? Uthal, you lay there in the church, your eyes closed, shivering, shaking, your arm throbbing in pain as it slowly starts being taken over by something that is infecting you, a disease. It's causing this rage within your soul. You're not quite sure what it is. You feel like you're gonna die, like this is the end, that maybe you've done everything you need to do in life. And as you slowly drift away and feel yourself leaving your body, you see something. That moment when you first met her. Your wife. What did she look like?
Glowing silver, distracting people, taking their money. Just like Uthal would have done, but with less dexterity.
She glows
Float.
there in silver. Give the audience a description of what she looks like beyond that.
So my wife was a dragonborn, a silver dragonborn. Stood about the same height as Uthal. She's pretty tall. Strong figure of always wearing like maybe leather or other like cloth. Very silent too while walking.
Yeah. She finishes casting the spell. She looks over at you. A smirk on her face. You love that smile. It's the smile that you remember waking up to. You blink. There's darkness again. In the darkness, you feel like you're running. And you can't stop running. It feels like something's chasing you. You hear the heartbeat of your own heart as it throbs within you. And you feel every aching muscle in your body pushing forward. You can't save her. How did your wife die?
She was stabbed through the chest while we were both on a job. Surprised by a guard. Uthal then ripped her in half, but she bled out in his arms. Him unable to save her.
Yeah. You see the face of that guard. Closer and closer. You can't quite make it out. You hear the stabbing again. Get repeating over and over. You try again to look. See his face. Just, you can't make it out. You blink. Darkness happens again. In this darkness, you start to feel pain again in your arm. And the pain throbs, and you see it moving, going up. It starts taking over your body. You can't move your legs. You can't move your chest. You can't move your body. You feel like you're drenched in sweat. You hear Roxy. Who's she with? You shake your head. You see Roxy. When was the first time you met Roxy?
Right after the fight with the fire elementals, she was making sure that all of her friends were okay.
Would you say she maybe saved you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel that warmth of the heal as it consumes you. You feel water below you, like you're floating. You're in that moment again, where you're sitting on top of the water. You're looking down at this fire elemental that's below you, and your friends all before you, slowly being healed by this hero. You blink. It's gone again. You feel this utter feeling of laughter, happiness. You just want to laugh. So you just start laughing. And then you feel sadness. And all you want to do is cry. And you start sobbing. You feel someone holding your head. And you just keep crying and crying and crying and crying. What is the thing you're thinking about as you're crying?
Probably not having the chance to make everything right and to just be with Roxy longer.
You continue sobbing. You feel Roxy holding your head. You hear words, people talking, but you can't hear them over your crying. Is there someone else crying? Is there another person crying? Is everyone crying? Am I dying? Are these the people mourning my death? You blink. You see yourself in a box. You look up. It's dark. You hear dirt being put on top of your, what you assume, grave. You blink. You're outside, looking down. Who's in the grave?
My wife?
It's your wife. In that place in the forest where you left her. As you finish putting the last bits of dirt on top of her grave, an arm reaches out of the ground. And there she is, covered in dirt, standing there, wearing the same outfit that you left her in. It's tattered, it's torn, it's full of dirt. There's worms growing her limbs. You look at her and you see her. She smiles, the same smile that you remember. And she reaches her hand out. And you go to grasp it, but you can't reach it. Slowly, she starts getting further away, and she's just standing there in front of the grave, holding her hand out. And you keep getting further and further and further away until you blink. The rest of you walk into the church. What do you guys do? What do you do, Roxy?
She,
Uthal,
she's
stop blinking. I like that.
She's going to immediately run over to Uthal with the potion in hand and basically give him the potion.
Yeah, you hold the potion up to his lips. Your hand shaking a little bit as you do it. Kind of hold his chin up and start pouring the potion into his mouth. As you're looking at him, you see Vand laying there, his circulatory system on the outside of his body. The flash suit that he was once wearing moved and removed from him a little bit, so you can just see his chest. He looks bad. All his skin dark and black. It's like a halfling was turned into a grape or a raisin or something. You look down at him, continuing to pour the potion into his mouth as everyone stands around looking. Now here's the choice you get to make. Nate, does Uthal drink the potion?
Yeah. He does.
Okay. Uthal drinks the potion, and as the final blink he makes, he looks back, sees his wife far away. This time she's not reaching out. She's waving and smiling. And a bright light shines down. And Uthal slowly starts climbing up a staircase into the light. And as he opens his eyes, he sees Roxy holding a potion bottle up to his lips. His lips dry, and he looks up at her. Let's take it away.
Roxy, is that you?
Yes.
Is that really you?
Yes. As he's talking, you can see her slightly tearing up a bit and just being like, "Yes."
Thank
Are
you.
Of course. She goes to like hug you.
He probably realizes he doesn't really have much clothes on right now, but he'll still hug back with some space, almost.
Yeah, and as she's hugging you, it feels real. Where you are feels like this is... I'm alive.
I just want to point out real quick that I didn't know that his veins on the outside of his body. So it'd be terrifying if he was a werebear, because there'd just be like veins outside.
Oh yeah, a werebear with
Horrific.
veins on the outside is scary.
I would cry.
Probably easier to kill though.
Yeah, you could chop its veins.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, you look up and you look around, and yeah, you realize that you're not wearing as much clothes as you were before, but it seems like they were perhaps trying to make sure you were okay, so you're not completely confused why you don't have as much clothes on. As you look down at your body and you can see it doesn't look good, and it doesn't look like your body. It's a little disorientating. Like, your legs are way closer to you than you're used to.
Assuming that means he can reach them, then he's gonna touch his toes.
Roxy, you see as Uthal goes forward and he starts reaching his toes. And as he goes to reach your toes, you try to wiggle them, and at first nothing happens. Like, you don't have sense to your legs. And then all of a sudden you do. You can feel your legs again.
Well, I can feel my legs, but they don't seem to be my legs.
You're still in the shape of our friend Van there. If you'd like, I can turn you back.
That would be great. I
Okay.
am small. Don't like
All right, here you
small.
go. You're going to cast your spell.
Going to
All right.
cast Dispel Magic.
Yes. What does it look like when you're casting the spell on him?
Normally, she would probably be like chanting and then just kind of point, but I think in this instance, when she's about to finish up the final piece of the spell, she'll actually like touch kind of like Uthal on his head. Just kind of like...
You touch the clock on his head, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, Uthal, you start expanding. The pew that's holding you, your legs, you were once able to lay fully flat on this pew and have no problems. You actually had like a couple feet of distance. Now you are having trouble, like you have to like lift your legs up and your back, and you slowly are becoming yourself. Which is, what do you look like now? Now that you're not a halfling, a tiny 3 to 4 foot halfling.
So Uthal is a 7'11" Goliath with dark slaty gray skin.
That's slate, man.
He weighs about 327 pounds, and he has violet eyes.
Yeah.
And his skin is ice cold to the touch.
I think has Baz seen him like this before? You have.
Yeah.
You've
The
seen
only
him
one
small.
here who hasn't seen him is Kathanis, your character. Alexei watches on as the potion is consumed. This creature, he starts, the halfling awakens. There's an embrace, which, you know, that sounds perfect for part of a story that you would tell.
He's writing the entire
A
thing
happy
down.
ending, but all of a sudden you see as Roxy stands above him and starts casting a spell. This halfling is no halfling. It is, in fact, what they said. A Goliath.
Oh, so you weren't lying. He isn't just a little half man. Okay. And he starts writing down in his book more about possible story ideas.
Roxy's gonna give Alexei a dirty look.
He just mutters, "The expanding halfling." Puts it in.
And you're all sitting on. The priest is watching over as this is all happening. And you just see her like holding some kind of necklace with an emblem on it. It looks like perhaps it's Helm's emblem, but you can't see it because she's got her hand clutched in it, and it looked like she was giving a prayer. And Uthal, you're slowly starting to feel like you're getting control of your limbs again, and you feel less pain, and slowly you're back to normal. And everyone watches on as this happens.
He's probably got a bit of a glare on his face too, because right now Boz is smiling at him. So shiny mirror teeth.
You can see yourself in Baz's teeth as Baz smiles and happiness. Baz is very happy that you're well. It's a little
Thank
blinding.
you, friends. Baz, could you please less smiling?
Oh.
Yeah, and as he closes his mouth to try not to smile, you see a little glint from the candles along the side of the wall, reflecting in his teeth.
Welcome back, Uthal.
Thank you, friends. Who is this?
Oh, I'm Alexei. Hello. Very nice to meet you. I want to hear all about what you experienced. Like, what did you see when you were asleep? What did you experience when you're turning into a werebear? I want to hear all of it.
Later, friend. Where is Erwin? Or where is Gaz?
Serwin.
Oh,
Who's Erwin?
he's with a druid lady who is teaching him how to be a better bear man.
Boz looks unsure about this. His smile kind of goes away.
Okay.
We had to make a deal, and he was part of the deal, but he chose to go.
So it was his choice then?
Yes.
Okay.
The exchange was a cure for you. In exchange, a druid is going to teach him the way more about being a bear.
Roxy,
What?
you feel something in your pocket.
Gonna reach into my pocket.
You reach in your pocket, and with your hand there, you see, or you feel a piece of paper. Feels like a scroll.
Gonna look at the scroll.
You pull the scroll out of your pocket, and you look down at it, and there's a seal on it.
I guess should probably break the seal and see what's inside of it.
You break the seal and you open up the scroll. It's the contract.
I'm going to read the contract at this time.
You can put that you have a contract in your inventory.
What is that, Roxy?
It's the contract.
Oh, the one you didn't read?
She makes the gesture, like, I imagine she has the quarterstaff somewhere, so she probably gets it with her tail and makes a gesture like she's gonna whack him again.
I mean, if you want me to read it, I can read it. I have dealt with many of these contracts before.
No.
Okay.
Perhaps we should, once I believe I can walk well enough, we should make for the tavern.
I agree. It was, I don't know what time of day is, but it's been a journey.
It's probably 9 a.m.
Okay.
Maybe we should, that way we can leave the priestesses in peace.
But you're all
Okay.
exhausted. You've been traveling.
Yeah.
You kind of went full force, didn't really sleep. You probably took turns riding the cart. Probably having to make Alexei not drive because they are very used to, it's their horse. Very nervous about other people riding their horse.
He loves Excelsior.
Yeah. And the priest continues to pray. You see her standing there, and she just continues to pray, her eyes closed. She doesn't look like she's moving. Everyone roll me perception as you're walking out of the church.
I have a nat 20.
I'm sure she has a few gestures for him. Oh no.
All the dirty jokes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I have a +1 to this because of Jack of all trades. So it's an 8. I forgot to add that.
Oh, right.
For Jack of all trades, you can actually go into your settings. I'll do it for you.
That's what I'm getting ready to do. I remember that, but I think I might know
So
better.
you can go to character sheet, and then the far right next to spells, there is a
Gear, yeah. I'm trying to find
gear,
out where
and you
it's
can
at.
actually turn on Jack of all trades down at the bottom. You can select that.
Oh, there it is. Cool.
I passed because I have an ungodly amount of naughty 20s.
Oh, you have a nat 20. Yeah, so remove
Yeah.
a nat 20. There's some people in the group who have a bajillion nat 20s. I think Frank has like 60 something left. It's absurd.
And I
Cool.
think on the way out of the church, Boz actually tells him to go on without him. He wants to talk to one of the priestesses.
Oh yeah, you did want to talk to them before. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, Baz, you kind of hold off and stand there as all of your companions are walking away. Alexei and Uthal standing next to each other with Roxy following, or Alexei running or walking in front of them, and Uthal and Roxy standing fairly close to one another as Roxy kind of turns back to look at you. But Roxy, with a nat 20, you can see the other priestess. She is in another room off to the side on the left. Basically, the way that this small church looks is there's a hallway, not a hallway, but like you open the doors, there's a middle walkway area, there's a bunch of pews, and then in the front there is kind of like the altar, and then to the right is like a bunch of candles that are set up and a organ. And then to the left is a small room that has a door. But the door is open, and you can see into the door that the other priestess is in there. You don't see who she's talking to, but you see her arms kind of moving about like anxiously, like she's like maybe yelling at somebody or something like that. But you didn't hear anything. You just see her motioning her arms, and you look back over, and Alexei and Uthal are kind of a few steps ahead of you, and Baz standing back next to the priest that was standing over by the organ, praying.
Okay. Yeah.
So the three of you walk out of the church.
Mhm.
Yeah, you continue out and you head onwards towards the inn. I'm assuming because Uthal's probably needing proper sleep that's not on a hard pew. Baz, on the other hand, you stay back. What do you do as your companions all leave? The door shuts and you hear the sound of the doors shutting echoing throughout the church. Light coming through the stained glass window in various different colors, landing on the pews.
Is the one priestess still praying?
Yeah, she's still standing kind of like over by the candles and holding some kind of medallion or pendant that's along her neck, and she's praying.
I think that he just sits nearby her and waits for her to finish
Okay.
before saying anything.
You continue in silence for a long time. Are you going to speak up at any point, or are you just going to stay in silence for hours if she stays in silence for hours? Kind of thing.
I think that he'll just observe her. Like, he's still trying to figure out the whole religion thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roll me, I guess an investigation maybe would be the best way to put this, because you're kind of like watching her. I mean, she doesn't notice because she has her eyes closed. A little creepy, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a charisma of 8. He's not good at social stuff.
And Isaac, thank you so much for the sub. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. And if you want to join us in D&D, be sure to talk to somebody with a blue name on Discord. If you do ! Discord, anyone can join our Discord, but only subs can join in on our sub games. With an 8 investigation, you don't have any nat 20s left? You're all out? Yeah, you're out? Okay. With an 8, what do you observe? It's not terrible. You watch. You look at this priestess as she stands there. She's wearing a white cloth with a tabard over it. There's some type of emblem on there, and it looks like it matches the emblem, perhaps on her necklace. She's holding it with both hands, and her eyes are closed. She's looking down, it looks like, perhaps, maybe at the pendant. Her face is quite dainty, pretty, but not like in an attractive like way. It's more of like she kind of looks content. Like it's an interesting look on her face. Like she just seems she's there. And her hair is kind of put up in off to the side, and there's something around her head that kind of cloaks her face a bit. And you didn't really notice her face before until now. That's kind of what you see as you look over at her.
He keeps watching for a little while. He's very fascinated. He doesn't quite know anything about, praying or any of that. It's all very new to him.
Yeah. So you continue to watch her, and after maybe 20 minutes pass, she finally lifts her head up, and looks over at you. What are you doing? You still staring at her?
Probably not staring directly at her. He's probably... I think maybe he's looking at one of the windows, trying to, see what is depicted in it.
Roll me a perception.
Alright.
Roll an 8.
Well, it's not an 8.
Yeah, 13's better. Frank's like, Terry Crews was on a D&D show today. Boss was like, you should get Terry Crews on roll for it. I was like, yeah, because that's gonna happen. I was like, I mean, yes, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yes, but no.
Yeah, right. Yes, but you never know. I'm not gonna say no. You are kind of looking off and staring, actually, very curiously at this stained glass window. Which window are you looking at exactly? The large one that's kind of got the most colors, or one of the side ones?
Probably the larger one. It would seem to have the most significance then. It's the biggest, at least in Boz's mind.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do something really quick. I need to know a little bit about something before I tell you what's on that mural. You look up at the mural and you see a armored knight standing there holding a some kind of device in their hand. The armor is silver and it's shiny. The light coming behind it, you see the sun on one side, and it's just pouring down this beautiful orange color, and around it this blue pattern with what looks like maybe clouds, and then it turns into this green below it, like the land. And the look on this soldier's face looks as though they're there to protect. You get this feeling of a guardian, of a watcher, of someone who will be there for you to protect you. Determination. That's what you see when you look up at the mural or stained glass window. And as you're looking up, you hear the voice of the priestess speak to you. He's beautiful, isn't he?
Yes. Who is this?
He is the unsleeping eye, god of guardians, the watcher, the vigilant. The defender. I thought you would know this, having been here before.
I never knew much of gods and things like gods before.
You don't believe in the gods?
I hadn't given them much thought before. I'm
Have
a
you not
simple
seen
man.
their miracles? The way they heal? I mean, your friend.
Lately, there have been changes for me.
Perhaps Helm smiles upon you.
I believe so. I believe that Roxy was sent by her god, your god.
Yeah.
I believe so. There's a significance in this place. It may have to do with why magic has been strange here.
You feel that too?
Yes. And
My
many
sister and I think we think the same thing. We traveled with your friend, Alexei. He has quite the tales to tell. In fact, he didn't not stop telling us tales for hours on end.
Boz lets out like a belly laugh at that.
But a few of them stuck with me. Perhaps you are here to help people. I think that's why we're here. There's something about this place. I just wish I could do more for the... She kind of looks down at the pew that your friend was at before.
There's much to be done here. So many strange things.
You've seen them too? Just still staring at the pew.
Yeah, I think he is too. Many strange events have happened since my arrival.
Did they
You
not
ca-
happen before you arrived?
I do not know.
How long have you been here?
How's it been? Like a few months?
Not sure how long it's been there for you. Because you've been here, you're one of the longer people that has been here.
He was part of the first group that came in. It
Yeah.
was him,
Yeah.
Uthal, Fand, and yeah.
I think it was Quiet Geek's character.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ardoth.
Ardoth.
Yeah, you try to remember how long you've been there, and yeah, maybe a couple months or so.
Not long. 2 or so months, I believe.
Then it's not you. I've heard tales of here much longer than that. It took us quite a while to get here, first of all. We saw strange things even along the way. Some horrifying. The birds were the worst.
There have been strange horrors that come seemingly out of nowhere.